Hello, Brazil. This is Dan Behar from Destroyer, and you're listening to 89 FM at Radio Rock.
Fala galera, beleza? Eu sou o Wendel Correia e hoje eu vou conversar com o Dan, vocalista e líder da banda canadense Destroyer, que acabou de lançar um novo álbum chamado Labyrinthitis, trocar ideia com ele sobre isso e muito mais com exclusividade para 89 a Rádio Rock. Hey Dan, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, man. And where are you now?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah, at home?
At home, yes.
And in the beginning of 2020, you have just released a new album, Have We Met? And then everybody knows what happened, pandemic, lockdown.
Yes.
How did you feel when that happened? Because you have just released a new album and the tour was starting. How do you feel?
I mean, I kind of didn't have the time or energy to examine how I felt because I was distracted by the entire world collapsing. So to think about the specifics of my life felt strange, you know. I mean, the tour, we managed to tour for 3 weeks in North America. It was kind of a miracle. Our last show, I think, was on March 12th or 13th in Nashville. And then the last week was canceled, and we just drove as fast as we could straight for the Canadian border. But the tour was going really well. It was possibly our best North American tour, at least. And the record seemed to be doing well. And the band was kind of just getting started with getting a feel for the songs. I think we were getting really good at playing them. So it's too bad that the rest of the tour had to get canceled. And, you know, we had European tours that got canceled or endlessly postponed. But those are very small complaints compared to the kind of devastation that happened around us and the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's true. And when did you start to work on the new album that became Labyrinthitis?
Maybe like spring, late spring, 2020. Early. I started way earlier than I would. Normally I take big breaks. You know, I can only do one thing. So if I'm busy touring, I can't really write anything. I can't, you know, when I'm touring, I can barely even read a book. And then the person who I've been collaborating with a lot over the last couple of albums, John Collins, he just started messaging me. You know, he had moved to a small island and started a family, and I wasn't expecting to hear from him again to work on music anyway. And he just started bugging me and asking me, you know, if I had anything. And I was like, oh, well, this is kind of new and unexpected, so maybe I need to come up with something to send you. You know, and the initial conversations that we had were about making like club music, like techno dance music, which failed.
Yeah. And how was the process of recording Labyrinthitis?
You know, probably it's very similar to a lot of records that got made in the last 2 years. Everyone isolated in their little rooms, sending files over the internet. You know, me kind of writing these songs and creating these demos, sending them to John, who would create like kind of elaborate templates, and then other members of the band would just start throwing music at him, which he would just start to juggle more and more and kind of cut up and manipulate and make strange sounds out of.
And do you have a favorite track on the album?
That's a good question. My favorite song is probably Eat the Wine, Drink the Bread, but I think recording wise, my favorite song is probably the first song. It's called It's in Your Heart Now. And I'm also really attached to the second half of a song that's called June.
Yeah. So I want to talk with you. I don't think we'll have enough time to talk about all the tracks, but I want to talk with you about some of the tracks, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Starting with Eat the Wine, Drink the Bread. Why did you change the verbs on the title?
I thought that it implies more of a dedication to wine if you're eating the wine and drinking the bread. it's almost like you eat the wine and drink the bread once you've had way too much wine. You have to be drunk enough to confuse your verbs and confuse kind of confuse your actions. And I feel like actually there's a lot of silly jokes like that on Labyrinthitis more than on other Destroyer albums. Maybe as I get older, I'm starting to not filter myself, be like less censored, and having just dumb old man jokes and gags creep into my songs, you know. Eat the wine, drink the bread is an example of that. I mean, the first line of the song is has a line that goes like rough, rough, goes the beagle to the terrier. It's just dog sounds, you know. So after you do that, all bets are off.
And that makes sense. And were you drinking wine and eating bread while you were working on the lyrics?
I mean, those are two very natural states for me to be in. But I think I was actually probably drinking way less than I had ever done in my adult life, and therefore was probably fantasizing about it in strange ways, or looking back on it in confused ways.
And talking about the song June, you sang on a verse, it's June and you've been proved. Yes, you are renewed. Do you feel like summer is about starting all over again?
I don't think about summer very much. It's funny. I'm someone who thinks about autumn and spring a lot. And I think spring, especially late spring, like June, has that quality to it. But I think I wanted a moment in that song that counteracted what I saw was a lot of mean-spirited lyrics and words sung maybe from the voice of a villain, a petty villain, someone who took joy in the pain of the suffering of others. And the part where I'm talking about renewal and June and making the most obvious made fun of rhyme in the English language, which is the rhyme of moon and June, which I've always wanted to make in song. I wanted some kind of innocence to counterbalance the rest of the song, which is the absence of innocence or an attack on innocence.
And you also directed the video of June with David Galloway. How is the experience of directing the video of your own song?
I really feel like he should have taken the complete director's credit, but was too scared of the very strange vision that he came up with. And so he wanted me to go down with the ship as well, you know? So stuck my name on there. Yeah, I think all I did was really collect some microwaves and stack them in a tower in my backyard for one shot of a kind of post-apocalypse microwave tower. The rest was him.
There's also the track Tintoretto, It's For You. You dedicate the song for the painter. And there's a phone ringing and the call is for, the song. Why did you dedicate the song? And who is calling Tintoretto on the song?
Death, the Grim Reaper. I don't know how you say the Grim Reaper in other languages, but, Death in a black cloak holding a scythe, Yeah. Death is calling for you. Death is knocking at your door.
And are you a fan of paintings as well? Because the art cover is also a painting.
I mean, I like paintings, but I don't know much about art. It's not something I feel like I can discuss in like an emotional way or in an academic way, as opposed to like film, which I've always been obsessive about, or literature or music, which, are those things have, I have like very emotional reactions to them, very immediate reactions. But I can also get lost in the history of them. So for me, visual art is very different from that.
I read on the internet that you inspire a lot by watching movies and then you write songs. Is that true?
I mean, I don't watch a movie and then write a song. I don't know why I write songs because I never sit down to write them. They just kind of these kind of like words and melodies just float to me in small bits, you know. That being said, I guess I watch a lot of movies. I go through phases, but yeah, it's something that I care about and that I think about, and I've always taken inspiration from them. And I would say, especially in the last, especially in the last 13 years, 13 or 14, I think more about music having a cinematic quality and an ambient quality than just a series of sung words that I put to chords, you know, which is more how I thought about it in the early days of Destroyer.
And who made the art cover, and what does it mean?
The cover is made by Sydney Hermont. It's from a series of paintings and drawings that she made a few years back. And I kept looking at it, and I kept looking at it specifically with the word labyrinthitis in mind. It's kind of the more that I became dedicated to the idea of calling the record Labyrinthitis, the more I wanted that painting as the cover. It seems like it has like a dreamlike quality, but it also has like a sense of menace or dread to me that is like the feeling of being lost inside of something, but you don't care. You're just up in your tree, kind of strumming your guitar away, singing, while the world collapses around you, or while the world goes up in flames. You're kind of in this pastoral setting, and will probably never find your way out of it. You know, almost drugged.
So you thought about the name Labyrinthitis for the album title before the song Labyrinthitis?
Much way before. Yeah, the song Labyrinthitis was made approximately 12 hours before we handed in the record to the mastering. Yes.
And it's an instrumental song, like an inaudible Trinity voice sounds. Is that true then?
It was completely made by John Collins, and I knew that I wanted him to come up with an instrumental track. I thought it was a good tradition to start, to have just like Have We Met had Nicholas Bragg, the guitar player, do an instrumental guitar track, and I called it Have We Met. And I thought I wanted the same thing this time with John coming up with an instrumental track, and that would be the title track. And it kind of allows the title to exist in this kind of more kind of free, abstract way, as opposed to getting it tied into a bunch of words that I sing over it, you know. But I had the idea for the title way before the music. Yeah.
I thought the last song you did for the album was the track, the last song.
The last song is the last song that I've written. I haven't written one since then, and it's also the last song on the album, so it's a good title. The decision to even put it on the album was really last minute. It was only in the last couple of days that I felt that the record was kind of really chaotic and dense, and kind of an assault on my senses, you know. The first song is kind of dreamy, and then the last song is kind of like quiet and solemn, but in the middle I find the record kind of vertigo inducing, and I wanted a way to close the record, and a way to like be able to have like to take a breath at the end of everything, and so that last song seemed important to me.
It's a great song. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, thanks.
You are going on tour now. Can we expect Brazil?
I mean, it would be a dream. I would love it. I need to figure out how to get down there.
Have you ever been in Brazil?
No. I haven't been, and I would love to go. So this is a cry for help to anyone who would ever consider bringing us down there. It's hard. The band is big. There's 7 of us, you know, so we're not super mobile that way when it comes to going to faraway places, but we would love it.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, the interview.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
89. ouve a Rádio Rock.